Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hello Word. I'm your host, Alex, and I'm thrilled to have you join me for another exciting exploration of the English language. Today, our word of the day is composer. So, what exactly is a composer? Well, quite simply, a composer is a person who writes music. It's a noun, and at a B2 level, you'll find it quite useful in describing the talented individuals behind the melodies we love. Think of Beethoven, Mozart, or even contemporary film score writers. They are all composers. We often use the word composer when talking about classical music, but it applies to anyone who creates original musical pieces in any genre. Now, let's delve into some synonyms. While there isn't a single perfect synonym, words like songwriter and musician can sometimes be used in similar contexts. For instance, instead of saying Beethoven was a famous composer, you could say Beethoven was a famous musician who wrote incredible symphonies. Or, if you're talking about someone who writes pop music, songwriter might be more appropriate. Taylor Swift is a talented songwriter and performer. Another related term could be arranger. Although an arranger usually adapts existing music, while a composer creates original music. You could say, the composer wrote a beautiful melody, and the arranger crafted a stunning orchestration for it. Notice that musician is broader than composer. A musician can play an instrument or sing without necessarily writing music. Songwriter specifically refers to someone who writes songs, often with lyrics, while a composer can create instrumental pieces as well. Let's move on to antonyms. Finding direct antonyms for composer is tricky because it describes a specific creative role. However, we can think about contrasting roles within the music industry. For example, someone who primarily performs music written by others could be considered the opposite of a composer. A performer interprets and presents music, whereas the composer originates it. You might say, while the performer captivated the audience with their rendition, the composer was the genius behind the piece. Another contrasting role could be a music critic. A music critic analyzes and evaluates music, but doesn't create it. The music critic offered insightful commentary on the composer's latest work. Similarly, a listener simply enjoys the music. They are not involved in its creation. The listener was moved by the composer's poignant composition. Other contrasts can be made with transcriber, since a transcriber changes music from one medium to another, but does not create a new piece. The transcriber diligently converted the composer's orchestral score into a piano arrangement. Now, how can we use composer in everyday life? Well, imagine you're discussing your favorite movie soundtracks. You might say, the movie had a fantastic soundtrack. The composer really captured the mood of the film. Or perhaps you're talking about a local band. The band's composer is incredibly talented. Their original songs are amazing. If you're discussing music, you could even ask, who is the composer of this musical piece? You might also encounter the term in music classes or concert programs. You'll often see composer's notes, which are explanations written by the composer about their work. Here are some example sentences and phrases. The renowned composer received numerous awards for his symphonies. She aspires to be a composer and is studying music theory. The composer skillfully blended classical and contemporary styles. The ballet featured music by a famous Russian composer. The film score was written by an up-and-coming composer. He is a self-taught composer. The local symphony orchestra is performing a world premiere by a living composer. The composer's inspiration came from nature. The young composer showed remarkable promise. The professor is a highly respected composer. So, to recap, a composer is a person who writes music. Synonyms include songwriter and musician, while contrasting roles include performer, music critic, transcriber, and listener. You can use composer in everyday conversations about music, movies, and artistic inspiration. I hope this has been a helpful exploration of the word composer. Thank you for joining me on Hello Word. Now, before we wrap up, I have a small request. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to the podcast and leave a review. Your support helps others discover the show, and I really appreciate it. Also, I'd love to see how you use the word composer. Create your own sentence using composer and share it as a comment below. I'm excited to see your creative examples. Until next time, keep exploring the wonderful world of words.